For years of my life, I believed that it is a talent that determines who is successful in life, who is the best, who wins. When I was younger, the people that I admired were Bonafide. He's like the best, in my opinion, rapper, Polish rapper. And after that, when I started to play a lot of League of Legends, the person I looked up to, like he was a role model for me, was Xayo, biggest Polish streamer. When I looked at them, I only thought, okay, they are just talented, they are just brilliant, they're just funny, it's their personality. These kind of people just win in life automatically because of who they are. And that was one of the reasons that I didn't start my YouTube channel earlier. One of them was, of course, fear of judgment, of showing your true colors. But another thing was just living according to the myth of when I will start, it will be just one moment when I will create a YouTube video and the world will discover me, because this is the only thing that I have to do. But really fast I realized that this is bullshit, that it cannot be further from the truth. That was a ground-shaking experience, but also a motivating experience. It motivated me to find out what it really takes to become the best. The book that helped me to find out, other than my experience, was the book The Talent is Overrated by Geoff Colvin. I read this book 2 times already after my groundbreaking experience, implementing it, trying it out in real life, and then I reread it like a week ago. The answer is really easy, but we have to start with the myths that will not allow you to take this answer from me. The two, I think, biggest classic examples of the talented people that just got the divine spark in them are Tiger Woods and Mozart. They are just prodigy children that just were born with this inner talent, and they were like godlike from the moment where they were born. When it comes to these two examples, these people were extremely lucky because both Mozart and Tiger Woods had fathers that were interested and passionate in teaching, and they wanted to give them their knowledge. And because of that, they were exposed to this kind of knowledge in young age, at the early stage of their lives. And here you can start connecting the dots and realize the first fact about becoming great at something. It takes time, and because these people started from the young age, they started to gather this time that is required to go through the learning process earlier. It's not like they just started the activity and they were already great at it. Every activity, every skill, every profession has its own learning curve. So the steps that you have to go through to learn some skill, from the early stage of development to late stage, to the mastery stage. You cannot solve some hard mathematical problems, millennial problems, without even knowing the numbers, how to add them, how to multiply, if you cannot count. And here you might say one from two things. Okay, but some people are more predispositioned than others. If two people will start at the same age of, for example, 5, it doesn't mean that both of them will become like the best football player, for example, because one of them is more predispositioned to do that. And another thing, does it mean that if I didn't start it at the earlier age, does it mean that it's the end for me? When it comes to predispositions, like genetic predispositions and stuff like that, of course it matters, and it matters a lot, but it doesn't mean that the people that are predispositioned will be better. It doesn't have that much of an impact as you would think it has. It's not like motivational story from me to hype you up about doing the work. It's the fact, because if someone is predispositioned to do something, he will more likely not want to do as much of a hard work as it's needed. At some point he will become too complacent. A lot of these people do not have what it takes, the humility that it takes to become great, because there is only one secret to become great. The one thing that differentiates the great people from average people, and it's deliberate practice. So how much of a practice did this person put in his profession, his work? Talent matters, predispositions matter, but to some point. After that, it's deliberate practice that determines who becomes the best. And what the deliberate practice is? Deliberate practice means doing something that is hard and do it over and over and over again. Let me explain. Imagine that you can act from 3 places. These places are comfort zone, learning zone, and panic zone. Comfort zone is an activity where you are comfortable with what you can do, how you are able to perform. It's an easy activity that you did like hundreds of times before, and there's nothing really that you can learn, go further from that. The panic zone is where the activity is too hard. You either get frustrated by having to do this thing, you are too afraid to do this thing, or you don't even like think about you will ever be able to do this thing. The learning zone is like a spot in between where something is outside of what you can do, outside of being comfortable and easy, but not that hard that you cannot do that if you will not push yourself to try to do that. Deliberate practice is exactly that, and the people that become the best, that win, are the people that did the most things, the most action from this zone. They push themselves the most to do the hard thing over and 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 over again. It's hard because you have to do a lot of hard stuff a lot of times, and it's fucking hard. Going back to my example with starting a YouTube channel, for a lot of years, like I think 10 years maybe, it was in my panic zone. I couldn't start a YouTube channel. It was outside of what I thought it's possible to do. For real, I was afraid of showing myself to the world, recording myself and uploading into the internet. It was in my panic zone. But if I knew how to go about it smarter after, for example, reading this book, I would create this change a lot faster. How you can do that? Definition of doing that is really easy. Do something that is in your learning zone, a little bit outside of your comfort zone. Do that enough times that it will go into your comfort zone, and then find something that is a little bit outside of your comfort zone again, and repeat that action. What would they be in like my example of starting a YouTube channel? Easy peasy. First of all, upload a video where there is not my face. There's only my voice. That's too hard. That's in panic zone. Okay.
Modulate that voice.
And upload that video with
modulated voice
without the face. Here we go. I did something outside of my comfort zone, but it's not in my panic zone. What would be the next step? After uploading, for example, 5 to 10 videos with
modulated voice
without the face, think outside of my comfort zone would be to upload video with my normal voice. Still, nobody knows who the fuck is this person, but it's a little bit outside of my comfort zone. Another thing would be like showing a photo of mine in one of the videos. Just like that, building it up and up and up, building your learning zone so it becomes your comfort zone over and over again, and getting out of the new build comfort zone into the learning zone is the formula to become better and better, to develop yourself and to become the best. You might ask, so if that's so easy to do, why not more people are being like better at what they are doing? Why they are complacent? Why they're not achieving their full potential? First answer to this question is comfort zone, because people do not want to do hard things. It's not comfortable, it's not easy by definition. It's hard to do hard things, and most of the people do not want to do that. There are also people that want on some level to achieve their higher potential, their higher goals, but they prefer to live in their like ego bubble. They create a bubble in which they live their whole life. So they, for example, become great at one thing. They structure their life around this one thing that they are great at, and they stay in this ego bubble. They do not want to go out there and do other hard stuff that would develop them further to become better. For example, there's a guy that like was always good with women for his entire life. It's just natural for him. He was raised in whatever, that kind of environment, and he's just great with women. He will live in this ego bubble, and it will be hard for him to leave this bubble, because if he would leave it, he could recognize that, okay, there are other things that I suck at. I'm not that comfortable and that confident in these things, and this would threaten his ego, his self-worth, his value, as this is the only one thing that he's good at. there are a lot of guys that do the same thing with video games. They are good at some kind of a video game. They do not want to go to the real world to check what they are really made of, to have a reality check, because they are good, for example, at Call of Duty, and they will just sit and play Call of Duty all day and destroy their enemies, but in real world they are not so tough. And of course, being too fearful, too panicked, having negative beliefs, basically being stuck in the panic zone is the last, I think, reason that most people do not reach their potential, because they are too afraid to do the things that they should be doing. And I was one of these people, and if I knew that it's easier, you can just achieve it by doing a small 1% incremental actions that will get you to this point, it's doable. For me, 4 years, it was just outside of what I thought it's possible to do, and I was stuck because of that. Another good advice would be, if that's impossible for you to leave the panic mode, the panic zone, is to get stronger in the things that you are strong already. It might contradict a little what I just said about the people that are living comfortable in their ego bubbles, but you are doing this to leave this ego bubble. So if you are, for example, are bad at one area of your life and it's like in your panic zone, what you can do is to get stronger in other areas. I don't know, your chest is too weak, but if you will train your triceps, back, biceps enough, this muscle will help you to develop your chest further, as they will help you to do the exercises to develop your chest. I hope you get the logic behind it. Typical 9 to 5 will probably kill your potential. And why is that? Because typical job, most of them develop you to some point where you are good enough to do your work, but not forcing you to go out of your comfort zone. At some point you'll probably be doing repetitive work over and over again, and you will not leave this comfort zone if you will not push yourself to get out of it. Here you can find another really important thing that will determine if you will become good or best at something, is motivation, because you need a lot of motivation. You need fucking passion to do these hard things, this hard work over and over and over and over again, experience pain, suffer through that, to break through the comfort zone over and over and over again and stay on track. Just keep on doing this stuff. There are two sources of motivation, so internal and external motivation. The researchers found out that the more internal motivation that there is, the better the performance of this person will be. It's just simple logic, because if you will be motivated by some external source, after you will get it, there's no motivation anymore. Of course it helps, and it doesn't mean that you should only be driven by your passion, getting after some goals, some material things. Of course it's cool to have external motivations too, but for me it's like the place in the middle. What I am about and what I am aiming at is like, how will I feel being the person that I want to be, and how my experience will look like with all of this cool fancy stuff, external things. So they are there. When you will add an internal gain with it, it's like experience that I will have. This is my biggest motivator. So for example, I want to live in the United States and somehow get there, but it's not like getting an apartment in New York City. It's more because this is the external goal that I want to get for myself. It's more about experience of living in New York City, like everyday experience. This is what motivates me, and this is something that author is pointing at too. It's about connecting the internal with external, some kind of accomplishment. He also provides a story of a figure skater that had to do some kind of crazy move, some kind of really hard maneuver, and it took this person to jump to some kind of height, fall down, and before this person was able to do it perfectly, she had to experience the pain of falling down for like 20,000 times for years to really perfect this skill, and it was always on a hard ice. So imagine being so motivated to do something, to be able to go through the hard work and a lot of pain to really get there. That's why I think these books is really crucial too, the magic of thinking big, because if your goal will not be big enough, you will not be so motivated, and in the long run you will just fall off the track. The last thing that is really important to become great at something is a feedback. This is connected to a point that I made when I was talking about living in this ego bubble. It's really the same thing, not allowing the outside world to show you where you really are in life, what you are really capable of, or what are your weak points. Just being comfortable with being good at one thing, for example, and not allowing the outside world to show you, okay, bro, you're not that cool, you're not that good. There's a lot of work you really have to do. And here the great example would be Jocko Willink. In one of his talks, he's speaking about a situation where there was some kind of a fuck up when it comes to a mission that they took. He tells that he always takes the responsibility, no matter who did the fuck up. When it comes to his soldiers, his team, he always takes full responsibility. He always takes extreme ownership of what happened, why it happened, what he did wrong, how he made bad decisions, and he embraces it fully every time, because this is the only way that you can really embrace the feedback to adjust your moves, to make better decisions in the future. Be humble, little bitch. That's all for today. Check my free ebooks and courses that I created that might help you to reach your goals and to change your psychology. See you in the next video. See ya.